One of my biggest pet peeves is complaining in myself when I complain and also hearing other people complain. Today, I want to share with you what I've discovered to be a fairly simple resolution to complaining. I think it'll help you, and obviously if you have anyone else in your life who tends to complain a lot and it annoys you, this can be very useful. So we're down here in Mexico. We have some amazing help, chef, cleaning people, obviously the architects and the builders have been great. And also we've noticed some gaps, right? So communication has obviously been an issue in certain situations. They speak Spanish, I speak English, kind of Spanish, un poco. But there's also still, like even with Google Translate, right? There's some gaps. Like we ask for something and something else happens. And so it can be very, very annoying when you ask for something and then you don't get that, or you get it and then it reverts back to what it was before. And it's like, hold on, like, do I have to repeat myself a million times? So this is very useful for you because number one, it'll help you live a better quality of your personal life, but also help you in business, especially when you hire team members. Because you'll find that there are people that get it, right? Batteries installed, and those who don't. And for those who don't, you've got two options. You can coach them up or you coach them out. So as an example, with coaching out, like for instance, with our chef, like there's been obviously, he's like amazing. I think so more than my wife does. I've enjoyed pretty much 90% of the meals he's prepared are phenomenal. I don't even want to go to dinner because he can make everything at home just so much better, at least Mexican stuff. But there's been situations where we given specific instructions or what we thought were specific, but then we didn't really get the specific outcome. So that can be annoying, right? For instance, if we have bread on the table, generally we like butter. So if I say, hey, can you bring butter or like mantequilla, por favor, whatever. Okay, butter on the table, cool. Now, not everyone is in terms of like, not everyone, whether it's in your business or in real life, are on the same wavelength in terms of getting things. So just because we ask for butter several times, some people might say, well, maybe I'll bring out butter every time in the future. But not everyone thinks like that. So the two opportunities are when that happens, you get rid of the person, like we find a new chef, if that's a major problem, or we document the shit out of what we want, we clarify it, and we communicate it in writing. If our cleaning lady is doing laundry and uses too much detergent, I ask my wife, I'm like, have you clearly articulated in writing to her and shown her exactly like how much you want to use? And she's like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, no. Like it's got like, I understand like you can say things to certain people in passing, but it's a really, really good exercise that I'm looking forward to document everything. Now, you guys know I love documenting and systemizing things in our business, and it's the same thing here. So we have a Casa Yuri playbook. So essentially we have a playbook for everything in this house. So like if you notice, I don't know if you can see behind this chair, there are like light sockets somewhere. There's a couple of them in the brick, in the stone here. And the Casa Yuri playbook covers everything from general cleaning, like indoors and outdoors, to the level of every third day or every other day, clean the insides of these light pockets in the stone. Why? Because they build up with cobwebs sometimes, little spiders get in there, or there's gecko poo. So it's like, I can expect a cleaning person to do that. I can expect it, but when it doesn't happen, I'm gonna get pissed off, and therefore I'm gonna complain. Or I can just create the expectation of like, here's what's expected in this role. Now listen, like our cleaning crew, the support is phenomenal, okay? But I have, our guiding principle here is 6-star clean. So you know 5-star hotels, like this is 6-star clean. So what that means, I mentioned this in another video, is clean where people would never look. Clean to a level where you could eat food off the grounds. And that means the little, the lights here. It also means the cobwebs up in the corners. Like when you live outdoors, half the house is outdoors, stuff like this builds up. But it's not enough for me to expect someone to understand that. And I have to, which is why I've done this, is we've mapped out a whole playbook, just like I have in our business, for everything. Here's exactly how we clean, even though I'm not the cleaning expert. I've seen what's going on and I understand, okay, well, like this is what I want, okay? This is how we clean stuff. This is how we clean the rooms. These are the expectations for, you know, the gardening and landscape area, or whatever it is. I was talking with one of our guys yesterday. So we have this outdoor garden that leads into an outdoor shower. It's really cool right beside the pool. The challenge, though, is as this garden's grown, it's beautiful, but there's cobwebs that are starting to kind of like infiltrate the space. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, I'm not going to walk on these stones through a cobweb. So now part of the playbook is get rid of every cobweb in this area. Make sure the vines that tend to take over are trimmed and prunes every week, right? So now, like on a weekly basis, there's a checklist. On a daily basis, there's a checklist for cleaning, laundry, food prep, groceries. Like there's a do not fly list for groceries, and then there's like do not use these products in our house type of thing, even down to cleaning products. So again, when we came here, the property managers have a way of cleaning homes, and they use products that I would never use, like purple cleaning agents, the horrifying smells, almost like Everglade air freshener, like way too, that type of thing. And we're like, no chemical products in the house. So we basically have a picture of all the products they had in the laundry room. And it was like a big X, like, do not use these here ever. Use these ones instead. And so it's like approved, not approved. So we can write it out and we can also show the pictures. So now we have this playbook and it's almost done. So now I can hand to the property managers and the cleaning people and I can say, here's what this job entails. So I've written it down. I've created so much clarity that anyone off the street can do this. Okay, this is not a flying an airplane type of task. Okay, this is a fairly simple thing. With that clarity, if the outcome is not what I expect, now we let them go. Now we find someone else. But I can't complain unless I've clarified the expectations of what good looks like or what the definition of done is. Because if I just sit back and complain, I'm like, well, they don't get it. I'm like, dude, obviously they don't get it. You have expectations that are here, maybe theirs are down here. So they have to raise up to these expectations and standards. And the only way to do that is by clarifying what those standards are in writing, as clear as day. Now, this goes to the same with your team members. If you're hiring people, you have to be explicitly clear around anything. What is the definition of done, right? What does good look like? What does success look like in this role or for this task or for this project? Because if you're like me, you probably expect more from other people, and that's because you've higher standards, but it's also very frustrating because you end up finding yourself in this frustrating energy a lot. And the remedy to that is 100% crystal clear communication. And that requires you to step back and document and write out, this is what I expect. This is what done looks like. This is what excellence is here. Anything not this, you have to get this done. And if you can't do this, we're done. So to get rid of complaining, number one, you can focus on the positive, focus on the good, for sure, focus on the gold more than the dirt. But when other people are involved, you have to be able to communicate with crystal clarity for them to execute to the level you want. With that guidance and with that clarity, if they still don't get it, in addition to some feedback you might give them, then it's like, okay, cool, what's going on here? And I'll just finish with this. If someone is not getting the thing done you want them to get done, just think of a triangle. Skill, will, clarity. Always assume someone lacks clarity. Hey, so you didn't get this thing done that I asked you to do, or it wasn't done to what I was hoping for. Is it because you're not clear about that? And if that's the case, that's on me. Document what clarity looks like. I want fruit first, 10 minutes later, main course. Okay. That's an example like breakfast for us. Instead of having everything at the same time, it's like, give us fruit first, let us just enjoy that, and then 10 minutes later, bring us the enchiladas, as an example. If I don't give that clarity, how am I expecting that person to know that? So clarity is number one. So on the triangle. Second is skill. Okay, you know to bring the fruit first and then the enchiladas a couple minutes later. Okay, so do you not know how to do that? Like, are there not enough dishes? Do you not know how to do that? Is that a skill thing? Like you can't separate those by time and by plates? Probably not. But let's just assume someone is not able to do the work properly. If you have a sales rep and they continue to shit the bed and they can't enroll clients, Are they clear about what they have to do? Probably. Do they have the skill to do it? That's a different story. Because this is a really simple tell. A sales rep doesn't think they have a skill gap because they're not aware of their own blind spot a lot of times. And that blind spot can be they don't even feel comfortable enough in their own skin to ask the hard question, and they're not even aware of it. And so sometimes there's a skill gap that someone can't even perceive. Obviously, you can coach them up and move them through that, hopefully, but if they don't grow, they got to go. So skill is important. If someone has a skill gap, again, as the leader, you have that ability to skill them up. You just have to determine, well, do I want to have people that are batteries included, or do I have to train everyone up from the ground up? That's for you to decide, and depends on where you are in your journey and your business. Final thing, I'll just give you an example on that. So with our chef, it would be easier to get a new chef. But there's a lot of gray area between telling a chef what we like and them executing on it. Like, we've worked with our chef now for several months, and there's been this, a lot of back and forth. This is how we like our steak prepared. This is how we like our eggs prepared. To put that in writing is one thing, but for someone to execute on that with the right level of salt, the right level of seasoning, the right level of, that's, I believe, harder than to find someone new to clean the floors, right? Clean the floors, done. There's no gray. It's like, clean the floors with this natural cleaning product, do it 3 times a week, end of story. So sometimes, based on the role, you might have to invest a little bit more time, because it might be worthwhile investing in skilling that person up compared to getting someone totally new. Maybe, maybe not. So we have clarity, we have skill, and the final side is will. Does the person give a shit? Do they have the motivation to even do the thing? So it's like, okay, so you know what to do, clarity. You know how to do it. Why don't you want to do it? And if it's a will thing, if it's a motivation thing, for me, ciao. I'm not here to motivate you, man. I'm not going to pay you more so you can be more motivated. Like, if you come and you do great work, you will be compensated accordingly in whatever way, that praise, money, whatever it is. But for someone not to show up, for someone to phone it in, that's a fireable offense very quickly. So I believe clarity and skill are on you as the leader to help someone get clarity and develop on. But if they don't have the motivation to want to get better, they should never be hired in the first place. So hopefully that triangle gives you a bit of clarity about how to give feedback to anyone, to be honest, whether it's your kids, staff, team members, clients, anything. Is it a clarity thing? Is it a skill thing? Is it a will thing? Okay. And if you want to get rid of the complaining, step 1 is to just document exactly what the definition of done looks like. Get as specific as you have to for the role, so someone doesn't have to think. They can just execute on it, depending on what it is, and produce the outcome you want. When you take time to document, clarify your vision, that's essentially what this is, and someone else can execute on it, you'll find yourself complaining a lot less. And if you do that, and the person executes, and you're still complaining because stuff isn't done properly, and you've provided feedback and coaching, then at that point, you got to let them go. So hopefully that gives you a bit of clarity around that. If your significant other is the one who complains all the time, well, this might be worth having a conversation with them around, or maybe share this video with them if you want, because I think all of us want to be in more positive, uplifting environments, as opposed to complaining about everything under the sun. Now, I'm not talking about complaining about the weather, complaining about the whatever. We always have the opportunity to change our circumstance. We can change our meaning of the situation, or we can change the situation by getting it all together. Does that make sense? In this case, I'm talking about something a little bit different, which is more involved with other people. So documenting and clarifying your vision, sharing with others, make sure they execute. If they don't, provide feedback. If you do a good job, well done. If they don't, you're on to the next one. So I want to share with you an interesting thought exercise / actual exercise to help you move through fear more effectively. Because if you think about everything you want in life, it's literally on the other side of your comfort zone. A lot of people get to the edge of their comfort zone and they retreat because it's fearful.